And we'll say good morning and welcome everybody to the Assistive Technology Social Hub, which we run in conjunction with our charity partner Seascape in Fife in Scotland. My name is Stuart Lawler from Sight and Sound Technology. Delighted to be back again for another month of Social Hub. Thanks to Sharon and Fanula and Stuart Beveridge, of course, who did a great job on the November session all about smart tech. And I think there was a whole load of other things talked about at that session too. So thank you guys for looking after that. Today's panel, we have from all Sight and Sound team at the moment, we have Fanula Murphy, Sharon Lyons and Carl Brealey from Sight and Sound Technology. Carl is in Northampton and Fanula, Sharon and myself are on the east coast of Ireland, where the weather is actually really nice at the moment. Very pleasant anyway, I would say it's mild. We're just having a minor tech issue getting Stuart Beveridge, would you believe, onto the show. And he's kind of crucial to this whole thing because he has some interesting tech to tell us about. So whilst we get Stuart sorted, just a quick reminder that if you want to talk to us today, and we'd love to hear about your technology, what was your big maybe tech highlights of 2021? What might you be looking for in your Christmas, under the Christmas tree? Or what are you looking forward to in 2022? Then we'd love to hear from you. You can raise your hand by pressing Alt and Y if you're on Windows, Option and Y if you're on the Mac. I often forget to talk about the Mac, and somebody mentioned that to me before. Or you can activate the raise hand button if you're on a mobile device. You can similarly chat to us if you want Alt and H on the computer, on PC. Option and H on the Mac, or activate the chat button on your mobile device. And we'll be keeping an eye between all of us here at Sight and Sound. We'll be keeping an eye on the chat and raised hands, and we'd love to hear from you. Sharon, I suppose I might start with you, and it's interesting to kind of think about all the tech that's gone through in the year. What's your because you got a new phone this year, didn't you? New Samsung phone.
Yeah, I did. I got a Samsung S21. I'm a bit of a Samsung Galaxy fan, and you kind of end up sticking with what you know. But what caught me out this year was the fact that I don't have an audio jack now on the phone. So I'm trying to manage different headphones, and I haven't had a lot of luck. So I'm probably going to have to go with something Bluetooth, like earbuds they called.
And are you finding, because I suppose, when you get a new phone, and if you've been used to something, even if it's the same brand, it's maybe a step up. You've been used to how your old phone behaved for a certain amount of time. Even if the phone is newer, I sometimes think you miss some old feature on the older device. Did you find that? Or?
No, I didn't actually. I found it. I found it better. Just like it kind of does things in a similar way, so it's not too hard to get used to, but it kind of does it better and faster. But yeah, I'd be interested to hear people's opinions about headphones and what headphones they use, because I kind of need hands-free ones in the car. So yeah, so I've tried adapters, so I can plug in my phone to the power and the headphones, and that did not work very well at all. So you kind of add in an extra complication with adapters. And someone on chat says, earbuds, there's thousands of them. Thanks, Norman. I don't know, I'm not sure about earbuds yet, because I just have a feeling that I will just constantly lose one down the back of the chair or something. I've wondered about aftershocks. I'd be interested in hearing if anybody uses, or not aftershocks, induction headphones. So yeah, how about you, Carl? Over to Carl. Do you get any new tech this year, Carl?
No, just got all my Christmas lights on the exterior of my house all wired up to Alexa.
So oh, lovely.
It's literally just got to, well, actually saying that, that's a lie. I've just spent like 350 quid on these Christmas lights called Twinkly.
Right.
That are all pre-programmable, so you can put in whatever you want, make all different patterns and stuff. And they're all on Alexa as well. So I have control over my Christmas tree, the external Christmas lights, and everything by just saying to Alexa, "Please turn on the Christmas lights." So yes, I've had a bit of a play with some
Fantastic.
home tech stuff. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have our Christmas lights on herself as well on smart plug.
That whole smart plug thing, and sorry for we're frantically trying to get Stuart Beveridge, by the way, so that we hope to have him soon. But that whole smart plug and smart tech thing is really interesting, isn't it? In terms of being able to set timers and doing it when you're away from home as well. Smart heaters is something that I discovered recently. Smart heaters at home now, and set them to do all sorts of well, I was going to say funky things. Not funky. It's just turning the heating on and off. But it's very handy. And I suppose if you're not at home, maybe to be able to turn on the heat if you're on the way home.
Oh yeah,
found that good. And there's of course a huge amount of the things then that will link with your smart speaker as well, which is good. What about Carl? Did you see any big? Because you're, I suppose.
Oh, I just put Carl on the spot actually.
Carl, I'll put Carl on the spot again, because Carl is a core part of the sales team, managing a lot of the inbound sales and sees what's coming in and out. I suppose because we started the year with this whole idea of wearable tech. Envision glasses were the big hit. I remember back in January. Have you seen of our products, Carl? Has there been big winners in 2021 that people are saying, I really liked that?
Well, I don't think there's been anything bigger than the BrailleSense 6.
It's interesting, yeah.
The uptake on that was phenomenal. More Braille units sold than what I've seen in my 11 and a bit years of being here. So it was quite surprising. I mean, selling nigh on 50 units in the space of a month
is incredible. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's I think we may have even shocked the developer with the amount of the manufacturer with the amount we sold. But yeah, I can't see many other companies getting anywhere near that with the first release of a device. So that's all exceptionally positive for us, and it also means that they're going in the right direction.
And it's interesting, I suppose, the BrailleSense 6 was one of those devices that a lot of people were, I think people were, Carl, hanging on for a while because there was all these rumors that this device is coming. We didn't know when it was coming either. So we were kind of thinking like everyone else. But I think a lot of people were sitting tight for maybe the best part of a year to see what had come.
Yeah, knowing exactly that it was on its way. And it did. It kind of ceased the sales of the BrailleSense Polaris whilst they were waiting for this, and it's definitely shown that it was worth the wait.
I see a few messages. Sorry, Carl. I see a few messages coming up in chat as well from Norman Octon. Jade says, I used to use AirPods for a while because I used to use AirPods for a while, then I was afraid of losing them, and someone did lose mine. So Norman Octon says earbuds, there's thousands of them at lots of prices. And delighted to say, guys, that Stuart Beveridge has just made it in. He makes a big entry. So Stuart, welcome.
We
can hear you well. Listen, I don't know what happened, but great to see you back.
Brilliant, Stuart.
Welcome back to the Social Hub.
So what I ended up, what I think had happened, Stuart, I don't know if it's something my end, but for some reason, Zoom thought I was already in another meeting. I don't know how I managed to discover that, and it would not let me exit whatever meeting it thought I was in. So I had to, I really shouldn't say this, I had to force the computer to shut down.
Wow. Listen, you're here now. You're here.
We've all done it.
So listen, Stuart, you're very welcome. We were just chatting with Carl there about the BrailleSense 6, which he was saying he's never seen a device sell as quickly in his many years in the AT industry, and he is one of the most experienced people in this industry. So he knows his stuff. No, I'm serious, Carl. I'm paying you a nice compliment.
Oh, no.
Stuart, I suppose what we did want to talk to you about is you buy, it's fair to say, a lot of new tech. And it's
But
kind of interesting
yes,
because I think Fanula and I and you, we did a session on the WeWalk cane, or was it the Ultra cane? Sorry. No, it was the
WeWalk.
WeWalk. And I think
Yeah.
you had just bought it. And
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see how it was going. So maybe to start us off, 3 months on, are you using it? Is it going well?
Yes and no. Because what I've now discovered, and it's not the cane that's the problem, it's some of the instructions the app is giving me, and I'm not too keen on what the app is telling me. And what I will say is the good thing about the WeWalk guys is, I mean, they're on it. You know, I've fed it back to the WeWalk team, and you know, they've came back, and I'm going to be meeting soon, hopefully, with Joe, who is the product manager, and one of the tech team, who, you know, the production team, the, you know, R&D team, to work out why my app is saying what it's saying. So if I give an example, when I'm walking up the main street, now you'd think if you were to head in a straight line, the app would say head straight on Main Street for 50 meters, for example. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? But what the app is saying is head back on Main Street for 50 meters. Now, whether it's just me, but that terminology is not what I would expect the app to be saying, because if I hear it saying head back, then I automatically think I've got to turn around and go in the opposite direction. Now, this is maybe just me. So what I've said is, look, I'm happy to use this in places I'm familiar with, but I've said to WeWalk, look, I am not using this at all in an unfamiliar area. You know, it's just really the way the app is, what the app's telling me to do is, you know, going against everything I think it should do. So it's just putting me off, to be honest, at the moment. Sorry to give that kind of negative.
No, it's really just as interesting to hear your feedback a bit on, because I think when you talked to us initially, you had just got it.
Well, it was working.
I had a very brief look at it, Stuart, and from my perspective, because I use a long cane called Swarovski, which is very light, it was just, forget about the tech. It was just too heavy. There was no way I'd be able to use it for any length of time. My wrist really killing me. So until they can build it into a different cane, and we've talked to them about that, that might happen. I just want to reference, because there is a bit of chat, and we got 1 or 2 emails as well from people who are attending this morning, and it's really nice to get emails. We got something in from Tom O'Neill in Dublin, in Balbriggan, and he says, keeping it simple, talking of great products, the Pen Friend Labeler, the Cobalt Speech Master, and Be My Eyes. I think everyone loves Be My Eyes, definitely. And Tom says, next year, if it's not available already and I don't know about it, I'd like an app that will send a message to my phone and to tell me it's raining if I have clothes on the line. That's a great idea. Stuart, do you know if anything exists that could help Tom? I'm not aware of anything. Are of any of the rest of the panel aware of anything?
That would have to be patented somewhere, I think. I don't know about that one.
Tom could make a few quid on that, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're closing the line, this thing sends you a message, and I guess Sharon always has a very accurate rainfall radar detector. So,
you know, it wouldn't be difficult to do, really, would it? Because all you need to do is, if that app had like a, you know, some sort of weather, RNIB used to sell a rain
RNIB,
warning
yeah. So
device.
Norman says RNIB sells a rain warning device. So we might try and find out what that is before the end of the session.
Yeah, because I mean, all you would have to do is, okay, look, I've got clothes on, just tell the app, you know, I've got clothes on the line. That would send it through to some sort of instruction through. Oh, they used to sell it.
They used to. Okay, they don't sell it anymore. Thanks, Norman. Yeah. Stuart, we will come back to you in a sec, because I want to talk to you about some tech you're going to get very soon, and maybe get your sense of where that might be helpful.
But yeah,
to you,
my plan was to give a wee, if I wasn't, hopefully I can still do it. My plan was to give a wee rundown of all of the tech I have bought in 2021/2022, if that was okay.
Absolutely.
There is some interesting things in there. So.
And we'd also like to know how your bank balance is at the end of 2021.
Don't ask.
But Stuart, we will come back to you. I just conscious there's a few raised hands, so let's maybe bring 1 or 2 people in, then we'll come back and get a sense of what you've bought, because I think it is very interesting to hear what you've been using, and I know a lot of people sort of check out what is Stuart Beveridge using these days. So, Carl, is it possible we could have a look at the raised hands, because you're the raised hands guru?
Yeah, we have Carol Adams. If you'd like to unmute yourself, Carol.
Yeah, hi.
Hiya, Carol. Good morning.
I just wanted to ask, the Braille Sense 6, is there going to be a mini?
Yes, there is. We don't know when. They have told us early next year. I would probably suspect it will be released in time for the summer shows in the US. Possibly not in time for the CSUN event, which is usually March, but I think you'll see it by the summer of next year.
And will there be, because obviously, like, I bought my Polaris obviously from someone else. So would there be like a way of like paying installments, or would there be like a deal or anything?
I'm going to let Carl answer that.
The only installment payment plan is via a company called Divide By, and they offer 369 or 12 monthly installment payments. With regards to there being a deal, as in a trade-in or something, we're not sure yet. That'll all be down to the developer and whether they put that opportunity our way. The majority of the Braille Sense 6s we sold this term were part of a trade-in deal.
Yeah.
For the full size one. So that was pretty much trading into any Braille. We may limit it to certain Braille next time because we've got an awful large amount of Orbit 20s in.
Right.
Which, to be fair, the reason why they came in was they weren't working. So it didn't really help, because obviously we try and clean stuff up and offer the chance, either we send it out to charities abroad or we offer someone a deal. So it may be limited next time, but to be fair, if they want it to sell and sell quickly, they will tend to put some form of deal in place. So I would imagine when it is released, if you make sure you are signed up to the newsletters that you can do via our website, then it will make sure that you obviously get notified as and when of the release, and if we are going to be running any promos for it as well.
Yeah, because as you know, I mean, I've had so much trouble with my Polaris and it seems to be working now. So I'm thinking, don't fix what's not broken. But at the same time, I would, if there's a chance of getting a mini, then,
Well, the difference is the Braille Sense 6 is light years above what the Polaris was.
Right.
If they could have put this at half of what's gone on with the speed of use and its ability and even its upgradable Android system into the older device, then it would have been a lot better. It's just a shame that obviously they've released another one and taken it to another level.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks for your question. Just before we go to the next person, a couple of things on chat. Liz McLucky is saying that you can ask your smart device about the weather. That's in response to Tom's query. And David Cormie says that many weather apps can send you notifications when it's going to rain and stop raining in your area, but unfortunately they're not very accurate. If you got washing on the line, I imagine you'd have to get home pretty quick. And Paul Bellew says video is working, but audio is not so good. So unfortunately, I think some people are not hearing us as well as others. I'm not sure. Zoom does funny things, I think, sometimes. Any other raised hands, Carl, that you want to deal with at the moment?
We do indeed. Alex Soto, if you can unmute yourself, please. It's all yours.
Hiya, Alex. I just need to tap your unmute button.
There we go.
Hello.
Hi, Alex. Good morning.
Morning, everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, you too.
I think I was about to say the same thing that someone else said. When the Apple came out with iOS 15, my weather app updated, and it asked me if I wanted to know ahead of time if you can set it to notify you when it's about to rain and how many minutes away it was and so on and so forth. So that's just the only thing I was going to mention. Then of course it's up to you to remember whether you have washing on the line or not. So
yeah, thanks, Alex. I actually just see that Norman Auction has posted in chat. There's a very good weather app called Dark Sky. I think Dark Sky was purchased by Apple, and I think that is part of iOS 15 at the moment. I think that's why the weather app got such a big revamp when they purchased Dark Sky. So it's good to know. Thanks for that, Alex.
Yep.
I like using weather gods. I don't know if you use that one, Stuart. I seem to
Don't.
prefer weather gods to Apple, but everybody's got their own preferences, haven't they?
Absolutely. Well, Stuart, let's take us, if you don't mind, then on this journey of your kind of a review of your tech year, what
Oh.
you bought, and how you're going to be spending Christmas with nothing at all because you've no money. But
Is
No,
it-
that won't
I
happen.
will be spend. Yes, from Christmas. I'm just waiting on something I will get to. A gentleman called Carl from Sight and Sound. I don't know who he is, but he talked with us to say that
He's
I'm
one of the
waiting
nicest
on.
guys you could meet, Stuart. One of the
Yes,
nicest
yeah,
guys.
definitely, definitely. So yeah, I'll take you on a quick tour of what I bought in 2021, and I'm also looking to the future as well. And maybe it's not the right time to take questions on the stuff I'm waiting on next year, but we'll see how this goes. And I'll take you through stuff as quick as I can because there are webinars on a lot of the stuff I ordered as well. Sorry, let me just get my. I've actually bought so much that I've actually had to write it all down. So I'm just going to.
Okay, while you're doing that, Stuart, I'm just going to really quickly say that we have a message from Sandy Tompkins on chat, and she says, I would like an app that works in conjunction with some kind of security camera, which would watch my back door and report with an alarm when my dog is trying to get out the door with some soft furnishing. there's great ideas here. If we had app developers here, we could really get something going. So
I think Amazon might come up with something on that. I mean, they've got the Ring, they've got the inside drones now coming as well. So there's a chance that Amazon might come up with something there.
Is there something you could put on the dog's collar that when the dog goes out the door, it would ping a notification to your phone? I wonder.
Well,
Then
my Blink camera that's set up via Amazon will notify me every time obviously something goes past, and it will give you an automatic live response as well.
Yeah.
So in theory, if you did have the camera pointed at the back door externally to cover you externally, you would know the moment anything went out the door, because mine picks up anything. Mine picked up a spider walking across a spider's web the other day that had managed to make itself in front of it. So yeah, it's and those blinks at the minute are dirt cheap to pick up.
Might be handy for your cats as well, Sharon. Okay, so anyway, Stuart, sorry, we were segueing there. We were dissecting about that your review.
I've got Jaws on again. So what I've done is I've categorized them into different, areas just because it makes it easier. So if I start with audio devices, I bought a new set of Bose Tempo frames. So they are the audio sunglasses. For they're basically headphones in the shape of sunglasses, and I love using these in the summertime. It protects my eyes from the sunlight because I can't see light and dark. So when I'm out with my guide dog, I can, walk around and have music on, an audio book, possibly some GPS navigation in there as well. So really like the Bose Tempo frames. They sound a lot better than the old style Bose Alto and Rondo frames. So yep, really like the Bose Tempo frames. And I also bought for the winter a pair of aftershocks. The Treks, Stuart, the sports titanium headphones, the bone conduction ones. I bought I think it's the third generation of them that has a microphone that comes down at your mouth. And so I wear them every day at the moment, the bone conducting headphones, and I use them a lot with Microsoft Soundscape. If a call comes in, I just answer the phone call without taking the phone out of my pocket, everything like that. So Bose Tempo frames for the summer, Trex aftershocks, bone conducting headphones, sports because they're waterproof for the winter. And staying with audio, I also, which I think I can't say too much at the moment, I think I'm going to be using this a lot next year. I also, and I don't know if Stuart has actually got one of these, I also bought myself a Zoom PodTrack P4 for, at the time I was doing podcasts and a lot of recordings for the work. So I bought myself hang on, sorry, Jaws is talking there. So I bought myself a Zoom PodTrack P4 for doing recordings, and I'm really liking the PodTrack, which is going to be used a lot next year. And so I think that's it for audio.
Stuart, sorry, can I just ask you, what was the name of those Aftershocks headset that you were talking about?
Trex. I just typed
Trex.
into Amazon Trex Aftershocks
Mhm.
headphones, and you should see the sports version. Actually, it used to be the first one that comes up.
Sharon, you do
Yeah.
realise that we sell aftershocks, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
And we
yeah.
get quite a good deal on them as well.
I was going to talk to you about it, but
our-
I was
our
waiting
lovely
for someone
friends-
to recommend them to me. so-
Our lovely friends at the NCBI keep buying loads.
And especially because they're waterproof, we would need that all
Yeah.
year round. Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the Aftershocks. I had an old
Thanks,
pair,
Stuart.
and these ones, you know, with the new ones with the Bluetooth is just night and day. You know, when you're using VoiceOver on your iPhone, there's no lag now at all. It's just absolutely fantastic. So they're my audio devices, and as I say, hopefully I can get more use of the PodTrack P4 next year. If I move on to navigation and obstacle detection devices, we've actually covered the WeWalk, so I'm not going to really speak about the WeWalk too much. One that I think still on and my favourite devices, and we did a webinar on this, Stuart, didn't we, is the Navi Belt. Now, it's expensive, but I honestly think the Navi Belt, basically it's a belt that tells you where to go through haptic feedback around your waist. At this time, I have never used a better navigation device. I think it's absolutely fantastic alongside my guide dog. And yet another purchase I made in 2021, a Sunu Band, and I used the Sunu Band a lot for obstacle detection when indoors, especially with the way things are at the moment. I'm not going to mention COVID again, but you know, you need to know when people are in front of you and things like that. So the Sunu Band for obstacle detection, especially indoors, alongside my guide dog and the Navi Belt, really are fantastic, actually. Let me just make sure I've got the audio device, the navigation and obstacle detection devices done. Yep. Now, an interesting one, I bought myself a new iPhone. So I bought myself an iPhone 13 mini when it came out. And I honestly think it's the best iPhone going. I really, really like the iPhone mini, 13 mini. I did have an iPhone 12, a standard 12, and I was sitting one day and I just thought, you know, why do I need a big screen? You know, I'm not sighted. So I thought, I knew that my little sister needed a phone. So I says, right, you have my iPhone 12 and I will go and buy myself an iPhone 13 mini. So I bought that and I absolutely love it. I think it's the best battery life I've ever had. And I just love the fact that it's so small and it fits in my pocket. I just take it everywhere. Really, really like the iPhone. It just suits me a lot better, a smaller screen. And in conjunction with that, I bought myself an Apple AirTag, which I have attached to my keys. And that has been, the AirTag is basically a Bluetooth tracker. So it's similar to the Tile. If anybody's ever used the Tile devices, I used to have a Tile and I just wasn't that keen on it. And then when Apple brought out the AirTags, I went, well, Apple do everything bigger and better than anybody else. Sorry to the Android fans among you. So I bought myself an AirTag, and thankfully, and I've actually had to use it twice because I've misplaced my keys and I've been able to find them again. So I absolutely love the AirTag, and they're expensive. They're not cheap, but I think more will be coming in the future. And actually, I would, going back to the dog, not that my guide dog does this very often, but it would actually be nice to sometimes keep track on my guide dog if he decides not to come back to me when he's on a free run. So I'm at the moment thinking of buying one just to attach to my guide dog's collar, an AirTag. But anyway, that's the Apple side done. What else have I bought? Very interesting one. And I'm still kind of getting to grips with this, but I bought myself a Chromebook, which is basically the Google equivalent of a laptop. And it actually has its own built-in screen reader called ChromeVox, which I am working my way through learning at the moment. And ChromeVox is very simplistic. I mean, if you're an advanced JAWS user like Stuart and I are, if you use even something like maybe VoiceOver on the Mac, going from that to a Chromebook's like it's taking baby steps. But for what it does, because the Chromebooks and the ChromeVox, everything's online with the Chromebooks. And I'm really, really I really like using Google Drive now, which is the equivalent to, iCloud or OneDrive, a cloud-based storage system. And it works really, really well on this Chromebook using ChromeVox. And as I say, there's basic web navigation in there. There's not many keyboard shortcuts to get, around things. But if you could put up with navigating through a lot of buttons and headings and things, I think I'm really, really starting to get quite impressed with how the ChromeVox works. And I think the Chromebook, works. And I really think in terms of students, I think this could be a goer for them, because up here in Scotland, especially in Fife, the councils just don't have the money for a lot of expensive kit. And I bought my Chromebook for less than £200. So I think up here the Chromebook may be the way forward for education purposes. Anyway, I'll skip on.
Yeah,
Now,
Stuart, just to say,
yes.
schools over here anyway in Ireland, they use Chromebooks a lot because it's a whole Google Classroom. So
yes,
everything,
Google Class, yes,
as long as you have the internet, though,
yes,
which is a little bit of an issue in some places.
schools, yeah, I've noticed that, and I think that as well. What I like about Google Chromebooks as well is it doesn't always work, but you can sometimes get other apps on there as well. So I've got Zoom on there. That some of the apps can come across from the Android system. It's a bit hit and miss, but I've got Zoom, I've got Microsoft Teams. I think I ended up putting OneDrive on there as well. So I just think it's a nice alternative. It's basic, but
very basic,
really,
but it
really
works.
like
Yeah,
it.
are they Chrome add-ins and Chrome extensions? I mean, the kind of Zoom thing and that. Is that right?
I think they must. I mean, it's from the Google Play Store, Sharon.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Whether it's like extensions they've put across, I don't. I've not really. I've only just bought it, so I'm still playing, to be honest. But I just think it's good, in the future as well. I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's just someone on or Norman on chat was asking, will Chromebook host MS Teams 9? Or MS Teams, sorry.
It looks as though it does. I'm sure I downloaded Microsoft Teams, and I just sign in with my my Microsoft account, and it seems to work pretty well. And it has an app launcher in there that you can get to with a keystroke. But there really is a lot more they can do with that screen reader. But the basics are definitely there. And I think, as you say, Sharon, because things are so web-based, if you have a decent knowledge of how to navigate, as I say, by headings and buttons and etc. I mean, I'm using Google Docs with it. I'm really working through. I've moved a lot of my training materials and things over from Windows to Chromebook, because what I wanted to do was, because I'm doing a lot more work outside my own organization now as well, I wanted to just keep my Windows laptop for personal use, and I wanted to have an alternative, nothing too complicated, that I could just store all my work stuff on, all my personal working stuff. And the Chromebook definitely fits that bill. So I'm really, really excited to see where that's going to go in the future. It's not perfect, but I like it.
My son is using one. Sorry, I've been quiet because I was having my own tech issues over here. My son is in first year in secondary school, and they're using Chromebooks. And yeah, I think it seems like a really good introductory device. They're using MS Teams. Definitely connectivity issues, as you said, Sharon. He said if they have a study class and everybody's trying to get online, you're struggling. So I've showed him how to download you know, the presentations that the teachers upload and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because you can do a certain amount offline, can't you, on the
Yeah.
Chromebook? Yeah, still. So
And
yeah, that's
I mean,
good.
honestly, Google Drive is fun. It's just great to have everything. I mean, and obviously you're in the Google ecosystem then, obviously, but I just think it's so good to have everything all in one kind of, it's like a one-stop, easy to use one-stop shop. I don't know if Fanula agrees with that, but yeah, it's, I think, I don't think it's the Chromebook that has, I wonder if it's actually just the internet that's the
Possibly.
issue.
Yeah,
and that's
possibly.
a great point somebody just said about the Google Drive on Polaris. I'm just going to come to something here in a second, actually.
Well, Stuart, if you don't mind, I was just going to break for one moment, only because we got an email in advance of the session from a gentleman called Raymond Bro, and I see Raymond is in the session. And he had two questions that I think I just want to make sure that we address them this morning while we're here. And then I think we would go back to you, because I know you want to talk about some future tech. And actually, I think this might be very interesting to get some feedback. But Raymond was asking about, he's joining a choir, and the choir will be uploading the parts to SoundCloud. Sorry, it's pronounced Bruff. Apologies. Thank you, Norman. Raymond Bruff, not Bro. My bad Irish pronunciation there. So basically, Raymond wants to use SoundCloud, but he said whilst he can access the play button, he can't access the fast forward and rewind buttons in SoundCloud. Now, I'm not sure, Raymond, what you're using, and if you'd like to raise your hand or come back to us on that, you can. If it's JAWS, my suspicion is that if the virtual cursor is turned off with the Windows key and Z, that might expose some additional buttons to you. And that also links to your second question, which is that you were watching Sharon's Shortcuts video, summer school video from, I believe, 2019. We have a newer version of that available now on Sight and Sound YouTube channel. And you were saying that when you were trying to rewind, maybe to hear something that Sharon had said again, it was playing the previous video. And that's because Alt and left arrow brings you back to the previous page. So if you again turn off your JAWS cursor, if you're using JAWS, and press the letter J, that will rewind. The letter L will go forward, and the letter K will pause. So if you're using JAWS, those tips may help you. And thank you for sending in the email. But if that's not clear and you want to come back to us, feel free to raise your hand or put something in chat, and we'll spot it here. Stuart, I think you wanted to talk about new tech, emerging tech in 2022, and both things you're going to reference are also discussed on our Sight and Sound podcast. So if people search back through the feeds, there's an interview about something that Stuart's going to talk about called Strap, and there's also a piece on something called the Wayband. So Stuart, and Raymond has raised his hand. Great, we'll get to Raymond in a sec. But Stuart,
you could go to Raymond now if you want to go to Raymond now.
Okay, let's just keep everybody. Okay, so Raymond, we will go to you now in just a sec. Is someone gonna?
I've done it.
Oh, Carl's
just ready for you to unmute yourself, Raymond.
You just need to press unmute there, Raymond, I think. Apologies for getting the pronunciation of your name wrong as well.
I just didn't want to keep Raymond waiting, so.
Raymond, you might just need to press the unmute button.
Alt A if you're using.
Alt A, that's right.
Pause.
We're not hearing you yet.
No. Sometimes you need to tab to it. It's a funny.
It is funny. We just had a message in from Jade. SoundCloud accessible features not really there. Ask the choir to send you separate files. So that's another option. Maybe if the choir master can, or the choir director. I don't know if they say choir master anymore these days, or choir mistress. If the choir director could send you files maybe with your parts. I know of some choirs lately who've been using WhatsApp for this sort of stuff as well. So Raymond, we might try going back to you. So sorry about that we can't get you on air, but we'll try that again. So Stuart, there's two devices I suppose you wanted to tell us about, and one is called Strap and one is called Wayband.
Yeah. Just before I do that, Stuart, I'm just going to touch on two more things that I've got in just because it is Sight and Sound related as well. On Tuesday, I took, and this is under Braille, and you know about one of them, but on Tuesday, I took delivery of the Hable One,
We
which
have it
is
sitting here.
the
Yeah.
iPhone controller. So there's no Braille display, which I was a bit skeptical about at first. It's actually just a tiny iPhone controller, and it's all through Braille input that you control the device with using VoiceOver on the Braille keypad. And I have been crying out for something like this for years. It took me a wee while to get used to it. I think I'm still actually learning it because there's so much commands to get your head round, and the way you hold the device is slightly different. But it's really, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And the main reason I bought it was because trying to type, I was carrying a Bluetooth keyboard around. It was keyboards are a wee bit bulky, and as well as that, typing on a touch screen. I've learned Braille, for giving away my age, but I've learned Braille since I was 5, and that's 30 years now. So, and so I thought, I'm going to go for this. For the sake of £239, I'm going to go for this wee device and just see how it works. And honestly, now that I've learned it, I'm typing text messages faster, I'm emailing, I just feel I'm so much faster and productive than I ever was using a touch screen, because you can do everything with gesture-wise on VoiceOver. You can do it with Braille commands on an iPhone or an Android device, by the way. So, it's great that Sight and Sound are stocking this. And what I was saying was, what I like about it is, just to give people an idea, I've got my iPhone Mini here, and I've got the Hable One sitting beside it, and it's actually small. I actually think it's smaller and lighter than my iPhone Mini, and yet, so when I hold it in both hands, I can actually use it really, really well. The Braille display and the Braille keys. So, and the battery life is absolutely brilliant on it as well. So the phone sits in my left-hand pocket. The Hable One, the Braille display or the Braille controller sits in my right-hand pocket. And I've just never had convenience like this in my life. I've been shouting it, for something like this for years, and it's finally here. So
I'm really curious to see how you get on with it, Stuart. It's a great device, and we're.
Have you tried it, Stuart?
Yeah, I've been using it for quite a few months, and
we have one here actually. Don't
we have one sitting on the desk.
Want me to show you for people who are.
Yeah, I can pass it over to Sharon. The very first time I was using this, Sharon and I are in the same office today. The very first time I was using this, Stuart, or one of the first times, I was on a bus, and it was a fairly quiet bus, and I was tapping away, click, 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 and in my head it seemed very loud. And I said, I wonder, is everyone looking at me going, what the hell is the guy doing? But anyway, they are a great device, absolutely.
Well, I hope I'm not controlling your iPhone by pressing.
No, it's turned off. You're fine.
It is the Braille keys are a wee bit. No, I'm just doing it. I did notice that. It's the Braille keys are. You can definitely hear it if I'm typing really, really fast, and firing through all of the icons on the iPhone screen. You do hear it. You're doing something on it. Put it that way. But I just think, for the sake of it, I do think it's a really, really, really worthwhile device, and I really think I hope it sells well, because I think there's been a gap in the market there that the Hable One has possibly just filled. So
I think the other interesting thing about the Hable, Stuart, is, and I suppose it's interesting to explain to people how you hold it, because you kind of hold it almost in midair. You're holding it between the palms of your hands, and it's sort of your fingers naturally sit on the keys.
And so like keys 1, 2, the keys are actually vertical, Stuart, aren't they? So key 1, 2, and 3, and and 4, 5, 6, they're actually vertical. So when you're pressing keys, and you're pressing keys down, you're actually pressing the keys towards the back of the machine and towards my chest when I'm holding it. I hope that makes some kind of sense. And it's basically, that's when I first got it, this was the key thing I hadn't understood. And when I was typing like an exclamation mark rather than, when I was trying to type H, I was typing an exclamation mark, and I'm going, this thing doesn't work. And it was actually because I was holding it incorrectly. So the key thing is actually holding it in the correct position. But once you get that idea and learn all of the shortcuts, you'd be amazed at how productive you are.
It's also worth just making the point very quickly and without getting too into Braille for a sec, but this device does its own Braille translation on the device. So it doesn't use Apple's Braille implementation. And I think there's advantages and disadvantages to that. But we have been supporting these guys in terms of getting the UEB code, pretty much spot on. But I think if people do have a Hable, if you're using a Hable or you have one and you find something doesn't work, please let us know, because it's not using Apple's own Braille translation, it's using its own. So it is using the LibLouis Braille tables, which is good because that's kind of the standard anyway, but
yeah,
it's just worth saying that, I think.
Yeah.
How much is it?
Sorry, Sharon?
How much is it? That's a great question. Carl will probably tell us that.
Is it 239? Maybe wrong there.
Something around that, yeah. I'm sure Carl will have a price on that one for us.
I just realised I was muted. Sorry, it's £239. I was saying it, but obviously nobody could hear me.
So 239 or 270 euros, I think, if that's correct. Thereabouts.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stuart, glimpsing to the future then.
Yes. So the two things I have ordered, and they should be with me next year. The first one is Strap, which, okay, the developers very, very boldly, in my opinion, say that this is a total wearable replacement for the cane. Am I bang on with that, Stuart? Do you want to? I'm in uncharted territory here.
You're spot on. Yeah.
So what it basically is, and I've done a lot of research on it, and again, I'm just going to have to go with what my findings are. It's basically a vest that is suitable when you put it on. This is suitable for kids, adults, men, women. Apparently, anybody can wear it because it's adjustable. And when you wear it, there are, I think it's something like 10 sensors that are arranged from your shoulders down towards your chest area. And what it does is through all of these sensors and through different vibration patterns, it's going to let you know if things are coming at you diagonally in front of you, and not what the objects are, but it's going to give you an idea how far away you are from the object, and it knows the speed you're walking as well. So it's going to pick this up and the objects up in real time. And through the haptic feedback, you're going to have a sense of what the object is and how to get around it. And it even works, unbelievably, it even works with things like water. It works with ascending and descending stairs. So if you're coming towards an ascending staircase, then you'll feel a vibration moving up the device. If you're coming down, if you're going to go downstairs, you feel a descending vibration on the device. And it's hard to explain because I haven't actually tested it, but hopefully that makes some sort of sense. And hang on, sorry, Stuart.
Sorry, Stuart. Yeah, keep going.
So, and I know there are people really skeptical about it, and I did listen to the podcast that you did, Stuart. So you're one of the people who are very skeptical of it, aren't you? But basically, the reason I've bought all of these navigation devices just to fill people in that don't know or haven't listened to other webinars. So, you know, the WeWalk, the Strap, which is coming up, things like the Navi Belt. I usually use a guide dog, but he's now, in terms of his working life, he's old and he's unfortunately going to retire next year. And I've only had two, and I just don't know that I'm going to have another guide dog. And I've went completely over the top, but I'm buying any and every Navi because I'm interested in it anyway, but I'm looking at some sort of replacement for Ron, who's my guide dog. And I think Strap might, because it's hands-free, because it seems to be so unobtrusive, I'm thinking Strap might be what I'm looking for. And the other thing I've bought to go alongside it, which is coming next year, is something called a Wayband, which is, it's basically a wristband that you put on one of your wrists, obviously, and through an app, it actually tells you when you're going in the wrong direction. So say I was to put in a route on the app to go to the Bakers, for example. That's one of my favourite shops. So I've put in Baines the Bakers up here in Scotland. If I was going in the right direction to Baines the Bakers, you would feel nothing from the band at all. The band's just going to stay quiet on your arm, and you know you're going in the right direction. However, as soon as you go even something like 20 degrees off course, you start to feel a slight vibration. So you know that you're going a wee bit off course, and you'll have to readjust your position until you feel nothing at all. And the beauty of the app, the beauty of the Wayband, by the sound of it, is that the more you are going in the wrong direction, the harder, the more stronger the vibration. So if you're really going in the wrong direction, this band is really going to let you know, and then you'd have to stop and reposition yourself, and you'll have it in real time. So I think it's a really, really good piece of equipment that I think is going to go hand in hand with the strap device, because if the strap device doesn't have a sat nav, it's basically a full-blown obstacle detector. So I'm going to get the vibrations through my upper core area, you know, chest area, for obstacle detection purposes. And then all I have to worry about in terms of going in the right direction, the Wayband's going to actually give me that sort of feedback on my arm. So they're going to work in tandem, but they're going to be on different parts of my body. I hope that makes some sort of sense. So those are the two devices I've bought at the moment. I've pre-ordered. They should be on their way next year, early next year. I'll just say I have been beta testing the Wayband app for the company, and I've had to give a lot of feedback because things aren't working, much like the WeWalk forum at the moment. Things aren't working as well as I would like them in the UK, but they're on Wayband are on the case with that as well.
Okay.
So
and the guys behind the Wayband are really good, Keith,
yeah.
and those guys. I suppose, Stuart, it's just worth mentioning in relation to strap. One of the things that we discussed on the podcast with these guys was their kind of whole argument is, and I think I personally don't know that I would feel comfortable or safe or confident maybe walking with nothing in my hand, and maybe that's just a security thing as well, or a psychological thing. I want to have something in my hand, i.e. a cane. But one of the things that Strap said was, imagine kids who are learning to travel on their own now for the first time, who were never given a cane, that this would be normal for them. So I can see that argument, and I take it on board. So maybe a different generation of travelers will use Strap, and then a few really brave people like yourself, and I know Sandy, who's on the call as well, had mentioned Strap to us before. I don't know if I will ever be brave enough to do it, but I think you guys, I'm dying to hear how you get on. I really am.
Yeah, I think I'm certainly, you know, as I say, I'm just looking for the answer to something that, you know, isn't my guide, and I don't mean that harshly. I've got the best guide dog in the world, and you know, things have changed a lot for me that I just don't think at the moment anyway. I'm leaning towards not having one, because I just don't think it's fair to have them on the road all the time and in a car all the time with, you know, changes to my job and things. So as I say, I'm looking for the answer, and I think when I saw what Strap was, I was like you, Stuart. I kind of thought, I'm not sure, but then I've never been a confident cane user. Never. Even with the WeWalk, I've got good cane skills, but just not confident with the cane at all. And I'm just hoping that because I'm so used to haptic feedback technology like the Navi Belt, I'm thinking that I can at the very least give this a go, and hopefully it's going to work.
Dying to hear your findings, Stuart. I just want to have a quick look at chat. Sandy Tompkins has said, I have a brainwave as to how to make the Hable into a braille display by use of haptics in the input keys. What do people think? And I think, yeah, and Sandy is always innovating and looking to how to push the boundaries of tech. And we had Sandy on a panel with us earlier this year for a Global Accessibility Awareness Day, and I do hope we'll have the chance to do that in the future. So thank you, Sandy. We have a Query from Alex has said, has anyone heard of monopoly voice banking? So I think it's probably a monopoly game. And Carol Adams says, I'm not sure I'd be brave enough either. That's in relation to the strap device. Yeah. Oh, how much is what we're being asked, Stuart, in relation to strap?
Right. So what I'm telling you at the moment, I think they are still available for pre-order. Now it's in dollars, so you might have to get your, currency conversion hat on. But at the moment, I paid $500 for it, which I think got converted into something like 300 and close to £400. I'm maybe slightly off there, but $500 is the price at the moment. If you don't pre-order it, and when they become available early next year, I think it's March, they're looking at actually getting the devices on mass production, you're going to be looking at the correct price is $750. So I took the decision to pre-order strap for 500 at the moment.
Okay, and you're expecting it sort of at some point?
I'm expecting it early next year. So okay. I spoke to, I'm in contact with Diego, Stuart, and at the moment they've actually got the devices ready to go. But what I didn't realise, and this is all businessy, paperwork, but they need certification from the USA and Europe. I don't know if you know about that, but there's obviously some certification they need before. And
that's only actually, I think, for shipping inside the EU. So coming direct to England, they don't actually need it because we don't have the same regulations. We've just been through all this with regards to the stuff we get from the States, from Vispero and Freedom Scientific and the like, that they've now had to implement, and lots of lawyers and everything have been working to get it's like having, what's that code you used to get, the GP, whatever it is, for safe selling of electronics and stuff.
An ISO, kind of an ISO code.
It is. We have them here, and I can't think what they're called. Like it's a worldwide recommendation that all these have this special rating on them. So now for accessible technology, they've put a special thing in place now where everything that comes from the States has to have this specific safe code or whatever it is to say that it's passed all these various things. And I know it's cost the Vispero side a lot of money to implement, which is probably why the pricing is going up from that $500 as well.
Okay. Well, look at Stuart will be very keen to get you on a webinar as soon as you have it and give us a thorough evaluation, as you always do so well with all your tech this year. It's been brilliant. With Julia Cosgrove was on chat, and she only heard about the webinar. She's just popped in and she was asking, we were talking about mobility aids. So Julia, you can catch this tech this session on our podcast and on YouTube.
I think John's on Julia's account.
Oh, John. Okay, that's who it is. Okay, perfect. I think that's right. John joins that. Okay, right. So
Raymond's back, Stuart. If you want me to,
let's try Raymond. Yeah.
If you could just unmute Raymond.
Raymond.
I think you had it a minute ago, but then
no.
Bruff.
Apologies.
How's that, folks?
Hi, Raymond. How do we pronounce your name, first of all? Apologies.
Well, Raymond will do, but
how do I pronounce your surname?
It is Bruff.
Bruff. Yeah. Apologies.
Yeah. I logged out of the desktop machine. I'm now on the laptop. I think I had a problem with the microphone on the desktop. That's why you couldn't hear me. But yeah, just going back to the SoundCloud thing. The problem I was having was with when I was playing a track, I couldn't move forward and back within it or alter the playback speed. Actually getting the track to play and moving to the previous and to the next tracks was not a problem.
Yeah, so admittedly, and I haven't really used SoundCloud in a long time, I would have sort of suggested as a turning off the virtual cursor and maybe even using the arrow keys, but you possibly tried that and it didn't work. But somebody else said on chat, Raymond, apparently that SoundCloud accessibility is not great.
No.
So
but what are people's experiences when they contact these companies and point these problems out. You know, there's usability or lack of it and accessibility. Are they quite receptive, and have they got the will to actually investigate and do something about it?
My thought on this, and I'm sure that maybe Stuart or other people, maybe others on the panel as well, might have thoughts, is that the smaller companies are usually a little bit more proactive. I think in a big company, accessibility almost gets, in some cases, not all, but in some cases gets swallowed up, and it's only one component of a whole lot of other things that are going on. And to be fair to the people in the company, they might be banging the drum for their area of accessibility, but it may not get into the final product. So it's definitely always worth getting in touch with them and highlighting the issue. I have found social media as well to be a good way to prompt people, because it's a little more public,
Yeah, but going back to the main sort of thrust of today's webinar, suppose what I would like under the Christmas tree would be a letter, a written undertaking from all of the ICT companies, saying that they would truly make future software, hardware, etc., and subsequent upgrades truly accessible and usable by not just blind people, but people with any disability.
Yeah,
it's a big ask.
I think we'd all
Christmas miracle, right?
One has to hope, continue to hope.
It's a great Christmas wish, though. Yeah, definitely. If anyone else wants to put their Christmas wish in the chat, or anything you'd like for Christmas next week, or if any of Stuart's purchases have tempted you, of course, let us know that as well.
Oh, and Stuart, can I just say an actual thank you to Sharon for that webinar on the shortcuts? It's very good.
You're very welcome, Raymond. It's that was ages ago, though, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I thought there was a more recent one, but I couldn't find that.
Okay, that's
so I just listened to that one. Was it September 19?
I think it was summer 2019.
I'll tell you what I'll do, Raymond. I have your email because you sent in that question. I'll send you we have one from this year, 2020. I think it was called, or 2021, refreshing your shortcuts or something. I do believe.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's all still relevant, though. So actually, it's all kind of standard shortcuts in Windows apps. So I'm glad that people are still getting used of the oldies.
Have you got any tentative plans to do one on Outlook as well, Sharon?
Well, we can, yeah. I think when we did that refreshing your shortcuts, there was a few requests for different things. Outlook was one of them, wasn't it? We could do a session on Outlook. I'd need Stuart's help for that, though.
Yeah, listen, let's definitely put it into the mix. There's a lot of stuff we're trying to plan for the next year.
We could do calendar and inbox, and lots of scope there, Raymond. Yeah.
Okay, I'll look for that letter under the tree as well.
Okay, Raymond, thanks a million. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to maybe just, by way of starting to wind this up, because we do want to say some thank yous. I see there's a few hands raised. We will get back to that in a sec, but maybe for our panel of people who've been helping with the Social Hub throughout the year and our Webinar Wednesday channel, if there's anything our panel are looking for under the tree, tech-wise or otherwise, by the way. Stuart, you've bought so much stuff this week, but what are you looking for under the tree?
So very, very quickly, this is actually, the BrailleSense 6 is actually the first HIMS product I have actually purchased personally. I did have, a Polaris switch through Access to Work, which, to be quite blunt, I was not fond of whatsoever. But the BrailleSense 6 is coming tomorrow, and just because of again, a lot of research, I can't wait to start using this device. I think they have HIMS, in my opinion, have finally cracked it, and it's going to be, a rival to my Braille. So really looking forward to the BrailleSense 6 and using it over Christmas, because I'm actually on holiday after tomorrow. So I'm going to really dive into the guts of it, over the next couple of weeks. So that's me.
Okay.
You know who to call when you get issues.
Yeah.
You know something, Stuart can call me anytime. There's never a problem.
Even Christmas Day.
Even Christmas, yeah. Well, we're both chomping into our turkey, no problem. Fanula, are you looking for anything exciting under the tree, tech or otherwise?
Wouldn't mind a working laptop at the minute, Stuart.
Oh yeah.
I'm on my phone here and it's struggling to keep up with the chat and the raised hands,
we're going to
switching screens.
We're going to try to sort Fanula's laptop today as well. That's definitely one to get fixed. So we get our sight and sound team on that one. Carl, what are you looking for under the Christmas tree?
I need a new TV.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Well, we've just bought the house we're renting, so now I'm going to build a TV wall, a built-in wall. But I don't want to build.
It'll be a huge TV, I'm sure.
It will be. Well, I've got a 65-inch at the minute, and I want bigger. So I'm looking at along the lines of mid 70s to 80s.
Oh my
God. Okay.
But I need the TV before I build the wall because otherwise the hole's going to be too small. So I need to get a TV sorted. So that's on my wish list at the minute. But I think that'll be more me buying it for myself than
that'll be a big box under the tree.
I think so.
That will be that'll cover the lounge.
Sharon, what are you hoping for under the tree?
Yeah, that tree won't fit down the chimney, will it? That TV won't fit down the chimney. A headset that works with my phone. And I want a Fitbit that doesn't get caught on my sleeve and fall off. Yeah, I want a very slim kind of Fitbit. Is it possible to get kind of like a
Garmin makes some nice slim ones, like more like an Apple Watch squarey kind of shape rather than it's not very
like
high.
Yeah, I have a
I thought Trev was on here for a minute and you were subtly hinting to him, but then I realised he's not here. Yeah.
He's not here.
Alexa will tell him later.
Yeah.
Trev,
it will.
Trev, if you're listening to the podcast on this, you know what you need to get.
It's too late.
Darren would love this present.
He's busy working, so.
Okay, any last hands raised, or I think we have a few raised hands that there might be one or two people who want to say something before we go.
From Carol's looking, Stuart, there was just something from, I think it was a gentleman called David on Strap. He was asking, he wondered what the battery life was like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently, I think you get 2 days worth out of it if you were to use it constantly. But what I think's fascinating is it comes to life when you move, and then when you stop moving, it goes to sleep. So if I was to stand still, the battery, the device would automatically go into sleep mode. So, I mean, they seem to have everything absolutely covered with this device. So obviously, the more you use it, the less you'll get. But I mean, you could wear this thing all day, and if you're sitting, in a cafe having a coffee, the thing's just going to, activate sleep mode by itself. So, just as you can tell, I'm really excited by the prospect of straps. So watch this space.
Okay, and we're dying to hear more about Strap as well. So definitely. Any more raised hands, Carl, or is everyone?
Carol's got a hand up. Hang
Carol,
on,
okay.
Carol, if you could unmute yourself, Carol.
Zoom webinar. Is it working?
Yeah,
we got you.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, the headphones I mentioned earlier, because you were on about aftershocks. My husband's basically said that I can have any aftershocks from him that I want, and because he's a gardener, he has to have something where basically it has to be literally not waterproof, but waterproof, if you know.
Bulletproof.
Yeah. So he's got the open comms and the Aeropex. Now, has anybody had any? Because I like to send voice messages on WhatsApp. I like it clear when I'm talking to someone on the phone, but I also might watch something or listen to music. So does anyone have any ideas about that? Or has anyone ever tried these?
OpenCom are fantastic. That's what I use, Carol. Sorry, I think I cut across.
Sorry, what was that you said?
The OpenComs, I use the OpenComs and I use them in the rain and everything, Carol. So if you use the OpenComs, that would be my recommendation.
The only thing that worries me about those is the microphone. I'm scared of breaking it because it comes down, doesn't it?
It's not, I wouldn't worry about it, Carol, honestly. I mean, it's really quite robust. I mean, you'd actually have to really physically try and snap that thing off to break it. Yeah, honestly, if what I could do, if it's worth it, I could send maybe somebody at Sight and Sound the link, and they could pass it on to the ones I have. I don't know if that would help, but
that'd be great.
Well,
yeah,
as
if
I
you want,
say,
if you
I
want to
mean,
send it, yeah.
the Aeropex and the sound, the open comms are the same price. So I don't really know what the difference is, apart from the fact that one's got a microphone that you pull up.
Yeah, we can. If you want to send us a link, Stuart, we can pass it on to Carl.
yeah, I don't know about the Aeropex at all. I've always just gone with
Okay.
the open comms, I'm afraid.
Okay.
And Carol, did you say on chat, do you have a 75-inch TV?
Yes, my husband, well, since we've been married, he's always got stuff for me. And I said to him, I said, look, what is it you really want? He said, a bigger TV. I said, well, why don't we just get one then? Because he never gets anything for himself. So we did.
What is it? What model is it?
It's a Samsung.
Okay.
Smart one.
Smart one, yeah.
But we've now got Sky, so we generally use the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe then, maybe Carl, you need to talk to the lovely Mrs. Brayley. Carl Brayley, talk to the lovely Mrs. Brayley and see what she buy you a big TV.
Yeah, I've got more chance in meeting Santa on Xmas Day, I think, than I have of
I don't know.
My wife.
Have you got the room for it?
Oh yeah, I've got more than enough room. Don't worry about that.
Well, then there you go. You probably get a good deal at this time of year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, I've been looking. I'm trying to get the right deal because there's so many, and if you go for the top end, you're looking at the best part of 7-8 grand.
Oh my God!
And I'm not paying that.
Well, let's for anyone who's interested in keeping up to date with that, on the next webinar, we'll find out, did Carl get that big TV? Okay, folks, it's going towards 1 p.m. We've been on for about an hour and a quarter, so I think it's time to sort of wrap it up. I want to thank everybody. We had a great group at this morning's session, loads of engagement and input, so thank you very much. But also thank you to everyone who's been supporting Sight and Sound's webinars throughout the year. We've thoroughly enjoyed producing them. We've changed formats slightly, as you know, throughout the year. We've changed the regularity, I suppose, of some of our sessions, but that's it. We still have had the great conversation and great tech and great, I suppose, great social spaces too, especially here in the social hub. And the social hub is continuing after Christmas. We're changing the time after Christmas. We're going to be at 2 p.m. on Thursdays, on the third Thursday of every month. And just to give you a sense of the future, one of the things we do want to look at in the social hub after Christmas is the world of work for people with sight loss. So there's going to be a few sessions over time on work and getting access to work and all that sort of stuff. So we look forward to that. Thank you sincerely to Fionnuala and Carl and Sharon, and of course to Stuart Beveridge. Not only to Stuart for the collaborations with Seascape, but for all the great amount of tech he shares with us so willingly all the time. And Stuart, I do want to see your bank balance at some point. Apart from that, thanks everybody. Have a great Christmas. Have a very safe and happy and peaceful Christmas. And we will chat to you all in the new year. Stay safe and stay well. From everyone at Sight and Sound Technology, take care.
Happy Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy
Merry Christmas,
everyone.
and you, Stuart.
Bye-bye.
It would never happen without you.
What do you need?